Hey guys, Jerome here from SG Football Podcast. I'm thanking you for watching the videos as well that we put up the last couple of weeks. Basically, we held a competition on who will be able to spot this emblem, the Hougang United badge, how many times within the episode, and the correct answer was 8. 8 times, which represents Emmerich's number of 3, 5, 35, so we added those numbers together to make it 8. So the winner of that contest is Javier Hernandez. We'll be in contact with you on how you'll be able to get the kit and everything else. And we will be doing further giveaways in the following episodes, so do keep a lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching this podcast. Hopefully we can reveal as much of Singapore football to the world as much as possible. Thank you.
Okay.
Nice, doing it. Okay, cool.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh my god, you're recording.
Yes. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
Okay, come.
The new dress nice, we gonna flourish, chilling in the garden when it's foggy. Got a lot of bitches, I'm sorry.
Hi guys, Jerome here from the SG Football Podcast. This is our second podcast after last week's with Emmerich, and we were thinking who else on the Hougang roster would we like to talk to as well. So I was looking through the roster, and then I saw the familiar name of Anders Aplin come up, and just a little bit of an introduction. It was probably like when I was about 10, when I was like standing in goal with like gloves and like the full kit setup, and then this Caucasian dude runs into the field with boots and everything, and I was like, whoa, okay. Next thing I know, this guy just blasts the ball into the net like constantly, time after time after time after time, and then just left me quite scarred for life. But but anyway, enough of that. Here's bringing Anders into the stream. Anders, man, how are you?
Hi. How have you been? Yeah, I'm actually back here at the
Oh, just
where it all happened years ago.
my goodness, just show the people out there what the court looks like now, how it's changed through the years. Wow. Brings back a ton of memories, man. Oh my goodness, a lot of memories on that court, huh?
This must have been years ago.
Yeah, dude, it's been ages since like we've like used that court and stuff like that, and then I moved as well. So but enough about me. Let's go on to you now. From all those years playing with the court and stuff like that, then suddenly I see you playing in the Singapore jersey, playing for Geylang, having your stint in Japan as well on loan. It really shows like, how your hard work has gone through until, where you are now playing in the SPL. But it hasn't been the smoothest of journeys, that's for sure, for you going through the NFL. I just want to like go through that with you. How did the whole NFL stint come about,
Actually, it came about after while I was in JC, I was still in the youth setup. If I'm honest with myself, it was a huge struggle trying to balance A levels and playing in the NFA at that time. So I made a decision to take a year off from football. But you can't do that. Like, you can't take a year off from football. So I played NFL Sunday League instead. Every Sunday with friends, and so NS happened, that carried on. And then when I was in university, my school coach was actually the head of one of the NFL sites. So he roped me in and spent a good few years there before Geylang called me up for a trial while I was still in university at the time.
Yeah, the NFL journey is quite an interesting one, because most players don't go through the NFL route. Usually it's, you play in the SPL and then you'll move down to NFL level.
And then
so it was quite
Usually.
it's a diverse route for you. But how did the whole NFL experience, like brief you up for the SPL stint after that with Geylang?
I felt it was very, very helpful when it came to my it shaped me as a footballer, how I am. It's quite literally the school of hard knocks.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Back in NFL, especially if you're a 17, 18-year-old and you're playing with some seasoned players, some very tough guys. So you learn to take some and you learn to give some.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's for sure.
So that kind of shaped how I've been. I never the one to shy away from a good,
A
hard
good
tackle.
50-50. Yeah, that's the thing. That's because I had the opportunity to cover NFL last year and probably the year before. and definitely, as like for me as a media guy, I was able to go like right to the side of the pitch, to actually see the coaches screaming at each other. There were like skirmishes and everything. Yeah, so like skirmishes and everything on the touchline and everything. So I could really, you can really tell from your game style as well that you don't shy away from the tackle from based on that experience, because the NFL was definitely not easy, especially as a younger player going through, all the seasoned veterans as well, coming down from the SPL. Um, but okay, so then after that, I believe you spent a few seasons in the NFL at two other teams as well. How did Geylang come about? Because I know Norali was already had his eye on you back in that day already, back in those days.
Mm. Yeah, I played for both the Padang teams, SRC and SEC. And there are a few experienced players in the team. At that point, I think at one point I was playing with Indra was there and Precious was there. Quite a few experienced players. And then in my last year there, I think we played against Centec. And then yeah, and next thing I knew, I got a call asking me if I'm interested to go for trials. All the way at Bedok. So yeah, I thought, why not, right?
That's the thing. I mean, when you get the opportunity to trial for a SPL team, I think definitely most of us won't like shy away from the opportunity. And considering where you've come from, from the NFLs going up, is definitely not many people who went through that route. I mean, Shaul Anwar is as you pointed out in one of your interviews previously, is one of those players as well. Then Geylang, that was the part where I found out that you were back in the Singapore scene, because I just started following local football again, and then next thing I know, I see your name on the team sheet. I'm like, I swear I've seen him before, and it was great to see you playing as well. And that was the thing. You were playing at centre back, and I found that quite a rare sight, because like when we were younger, when we were playing out on the field, you usually play up top, as well as the midfield. So how, I mean, as you were younger, how was that transition from midfield or from attacking to back to defending? How did that come about?
I think back when I was still in my schooling days, I think there's no way I could match up to some of the guys in terms of speed or skill. But I had size, I had aggression, so the coach thought I'd be a good fit, at the back. And having played more advanced roles back in school, you kinda know what to expect from some of the strikers. You know what kind of moves they're gonna try and play on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess. But sometimes I still, like to venture forward.
Yeah. That's the thing. We saw that when you were at Geylang as well, pulling up with that rare goal once or twice there. So that's something that's definitely popped out in your game.
One goal in 4 years.
But still, you still had that venturing forward, and I believe there was a period of time they actually played you up front. I think there was like maybe a couple games, yeah, which which I found very interesting as well, and I really look forward to seeing that, because having seen you like play against us when you were younger, definitely you had that knack of scoring the goals here and there, left, right, and center. So that was cool. Okay, so we're gonna go more into your younger days. Like, how was it, being in a family full of sports people? How did that drive you to, your sporting goals?
Well, that meant that there was a very, very strong support system. My parents were always very supportive. Both my brothers have actually represented Singapore at their own respective sport as well. So it's always been very supportive, very encouraging. My dad's he's a soccer guy, so he'll ask me how my games are. He'll come down and watch. Sometimes we'll catch games on the telly. Yeah, they've made it easier, in that sense.
Well, your brothers, that means your brothers are how old already? Niels and what's your other brother? Oh, his name oh,
Chris, yeah. Oh, they have like 27 and 24 or 5.
wow. And considering when I saw them, they were like so small last time, that oof, my goodness. How the years have gone, man. How the years have gone. So
Yeah, they're
of
both
course,
taller
yeah.
than I now.
Wow. Goodness, and like Niels was like small, running around all the time, all full of energy and stuff like that. My goodness. So how was the conversation like when you told your family that you wanted to play football? Like, especially when you were still going through your studies and stuff like that. How did that conversation work out?
Oh, there was no restrict, no, they were very, very supportive. They were very understanding. They understood that it has been a childhood dream, to play professionally, and when the opportunity came, they were happy.
Hmm, nice.
Yeah.
Then from there was for them, I think the first step after that was sports school. How was that whole experience? Like, that whole going through the whole sports school curriculum and everything. How did that process shape you up as but for your studies and for your football?
Yeah. Well, we were my batch was the pioneer batch. So um, it was a new thing. But as a 13-year-old going in, I was, it was amazing. You get to play football every day. Yeah, okay, you got to do your studies as well, which,
Mm,
you know, when you grow up, you realize how important that is.
mm,
But it was a great thing. There was the support system there, the environment there was quite good. The only thing I would say is, it's only 4 years, and
mm,
I would have hoped something like that would be a more long-term
mm.
pathway.
Yeah, so that at least from there, like usually like education wise in football and stuff like that should have gone a little bit longer, so at least players
Mm.
will grow up with the system so that at least they will be able to fit in after that. Yeah, so I
Or
get what you
start
mean about that.
earlier, I would hope. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so then you took the route like less traveled. You decided to, instead of continuing on with football, decided to go through your studies first. And honestly, not a lot of people would have done that, but you in your position as well, having wanting to move up further in the football landscape, but decided to take a break for your studies. How difficult was that decision to make?
There were many times where I just think to myself, what am I doing? It's a real handful trying to balance both. But I did understand, and I do understand how, especially in Singapore, where there's a emphasis on academic development as well as whatever you're gonna do on the side. So
Mm,
that bit I understood from an early age, and and going through the sports school, it did show that it's possible to do both. Not easy, but yeah, it's possible. You just need a time management and a lot of quite a lot of grit
mm.
and
Yeah.
luck.
Oh, yeah, the luck element definitely has to come by once there as well.
Mm.
Um, but of course, your hard work also sees you in that position that you are today, which is fantastic to see. And of course, going after that, you completed A levels and everything first, right? Then your journey after A levels, where did that bring you after, like when it came to coming back into football?
Oh, after A levels was national service.
Oh, NS, yeah, the 2 years.
Oh, that part, yeah. So going to NS, I was probably among the first few from my NFA batch to enlist. And when the rest of them finally did, they somehow managed to stick with the setup in the Young Lions and all.
Mm,
For some reason, I don't know whether it was my unit who didn't release me, or Young Lions didn't call me up, or
mm,
whatever it was, but was left with playing in the Sunday leagues.
mm,
Yeah, and so that was another good 2 years out of the setup
mm, mm. But that's the thing,
before
yeah.
university came.
Mm. So then after that came uni and everything came and went after that. That basically after that changed everything for you, going through the NFL setup, then after that going to Geylang. And
Mm.
then how was the Geylang experience for you? Because not long after you signed, I believe you were made captain at that point of time. How was the
Mm.
whole Geylang experience for you?
Oh, I really enjoyed my time there. Um, if I would say I was very fortunate when I first joined the squad, because the setup, the makeup of that team at that point was a good mix of very experienced players. You know, your players like Issa and Indra, Daniel Bennett, and then you got the guys who finished the SEA Games who happened to be my schoolmates back in the sports school. People like Shafiq and Stanley. Yeah, so it was easy to integrate, and at the same time you had all these senior internationals to look up to, and like quietly observe them and try and pick up one or two tricks from them. So that was great, and the coaching staff were great. The fans were amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really, really good time.
That's the thing. You've been lucky on the fan aspect because you have joined two clubs with major fan groups. You got the Geylang Ultras, the Eagles on one side, and then you got the Hougang Wolves on another side as well. Now, how has the whole fan experience been for you? Going through two of the biggest fan clubs here in Singapore.
I don't know how it'd be like without them, involved. They really give you that extra edge. When you go through every day in training and you see some of them in the stadium, and, especially in games when they turn out with their families and their drums, and then you feel as you're part of a bigger identity. It drives you to do better and to work harder.
Is there a particular memory that you have of the fans, especially pulling through maybe a difficult game? What's a standout moment for you?
Back in Geylang, there was a few games where we actually came from behind.
Yeah.
There was a few game streak where we were behind and we managed to claw our way back, and that was the fans. That was all the fans. And then the coach would tell us, if they're still shouting, there's no no reason why you guys shouldn't be still fighting. So that really gave us the edge. When the chips were down.
Yeah. So I mean, the holes wise, unfortunately, you haven't had too much of a chance to play in front of them yet. But of course, we could see from the behind closed doors fixtures, they were still outside the stadium. They still had their drums. Those were amazing.
Yeah, that was quite sick. Yeah.
So yeah, we were watching it on TV, and I was really impressed by that. Like just seeing them still outside the stadiums. I got to give a shout out to all the fan clubs as well. Like during these behind closed doors games, there are still fans outside the stadium. You have the Yellow Knights from Tampines, you have the Ultras as well from Geylang, the Hools. Mad props to all of them for actually just coming out, despite the behind closed doors segment and everything.
Yeah,
else. Really sick. So 2018 rolls around, and then you are called to go to Japan. How I know I do understand there's the whole Geylang and Epson partnership, but how was it brought up to you? Like, how were you told that you're going to Japan, for a loan with Matsumoto?
So that happened after I had a trial, like a week's training stint early on in the season. Came back, played a few games, and then was told that it might actually happen. So during preseason, they actually put me through a very rigorous, personalized preseason training routine with the trainer to prep me for that. And when it really happened, when it actually happened, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I knew what the level was there, and it was really high. I just decided to go there and learn as much as I can, and just do my best. That's all I can do at that point. It was a real eye opener. how the J League works, and how the teams are run there.
Yeah, so we do have Singapore. We do have our own Albrecht's Negata boys, and I think looking at them, even when I remember this thing where they won the title last year and they were still training even after that. And it really showed like how much the Japanese actually take seriousness from their coaching and their training. How was your training like with them? How did that shape you up into the player now?
The one thing that really struck me was how detailed and meticulous every part of training is planned out and is executed. And as players, we only observe what the coaches tell you and all that. But back in the changing room, they have all the charts showing how much you've run and your body fat, and every little detail is monitored, analyzed, and it was really an eye opener. Seeing how the clubs there ran their sessions, and how like they did video sessions for games. They would analyze what went wrong, and then they would plan out a correction training on top of the existing training session. So they'll slot in the extra training like midday.
Wow. Okay.
To work on it. Yeah, and the players there are extremely professional and dedicated. And, yeah, you really want to be involved with that.
Yeah, you really want to make a difference as well, and as someone who is new, trying to get as much experience as possible. And you were there also when they won the J2. How was that? Like
Mm.
the fans as well. So you've already experienced the fans in Geylang. How are the fans in Japan? How are they like?
So Yamaga and Geylang we both wear green.
Hmm.
So there's a bit of, like, wow, feels like Geylang. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
but the fans there, it's a smallish town, I think, and every time there's a local match, stadium will be filled.
Mm.
The atmosphere there is it's on a different level, I would say.
Mm. Yeah, that's why. Then we saw them also had you were holding. I saw on the photos you were carrying up a kaya sandwich that they made with your face on it
Yeah.
as well. That one was pretty insane. The whole fan culture in, like, if you compare like Japan and here as well. So like everybody here is creative, but there as well. There's so much creativity when it comes to fan engagement and
Mm,
fans when it
yeah.
comes to interacting with players. What's the biggest takeaway that you have from Japan? What's the biggest takeaway?
If I had to point out one thing, it would be they have this constant drive to improve.
Hmm.
No matter how small, maybe it could be your touches or like your acceleration when like even the smallest detail, they would be so hard up about
Mm.
getting better at it. And that's what really really struck me.
Last point for your Japan journey. What's one thing that maybe here in Singapore, like what people in Singapore or teams in Singapore can do to try and emulate as much as possible the Japan model? What do you think teams should be doing here that maybe we've missed the mark, maybe we've missed the beat on?
Um, well, I mean, where do you start, right?
Mm.
The difference will be, I think, training sessions here and there. I would say it's not tougher.
Mhm.
We still get pushed quite hard down here, but over there it's every little thing,
Mm.
and it's imbued into the whole team culture. So over there, like, players will come before training, do your own work, and then you start training, and then after training, you do extra work on your own.
Yeah.
And but I mean, understand we are restricted. We don't have huge training grounds. We don't have a club gym readily available for us. And but I think if for us to step in the right direction, it would take clubs and players and of course the organizing body to all work together.
Mm.
And of course the fans as well. I mean, fan engagement was something that was crazy over there, and something we like to see happen here again.
Yeah, I think
Hopefully.
that's a major factor. I think a bit more fan engagement would be a lot more appreciative. I think that's why we do what we do. We try to bring players like you on and speak about your experiences, and hopefully these podcasts will be able to speak to other fans as well to come down and support their local teams. I think that's a big experience for you to go all the way there and to experience what you did, and to come back. I think it's a good experience to share with everybody who hopefully watches this video. I think fan engagement is a very, very important thing, and that's why I came back to local football, because seeing all the fans and the Geylang Ultras were the ones that actually brought me back, to be honest. Stanley and Javier and all of them brought me back, with the drums and everything else, and I was so intrigued by everything, and to come back to local football has been an eye opener for me especially, and for the team here. The team here as well wants to try to do as much for local football as much as we can. So hopefully by interviewing
Great,
you,
great that people are actually not given up on local football.
yeah, that's why I think it's something that we should build up and work upon, because if FA sees that there's something here, hopefully we can push a further and even bigger movement, hopefully coming forward. Okay, so another couple things that we'll go through. The red kit behind me, the Singapore kit. How did it feel, representing Singapore? When I said that, it immediately brought a bit of a smile to your face as well. How was the experience of representing your country?
Seriously, there's no bigger honor as a player to wear the national jersey. You wear it when you're in your youth. To actually wear the jersey and step onto the field was crazy. I thought Leonard was joking when he called me up. He told me I remember I was at a coffee shop near school, and then he called me up
Mm.
like 10 at night. Yeah, I thought he was pulling my leg until the next day we went to training. But yeah, it was there's no bigger honor for a player
Yeah.
to
Like,
represent your country.
yeah. And how was the experience like training and training with the full national team? How did that training stint go about for you?
You get a bit starstruck and a bit you still got to maintain your focus
Yeah.
because back then there was still players which I used to watch on TV
Mm.
back in school, and then you're on the same training pitch as them, and so you really wanted to prove yourself, and you know
Mm.
so that was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Just the thought of you being in that level already, having seen you from when you were younger going up to the national level as well. It really, it kind of makes me proud as well. Having seen people like you, like having played with you like in school, and then doing this
Down
what you're
here.
doing now. Yeah, man. Like where you're at now, it's fantastic to see lah. And I really wanted to get this interview not only to chit chat about that, but also chit chat about your full journey of getting to where you are now. So after Yamaga, coming back to Geylang for that
Mm.
little bit, how did that next season pan out for you? What are your thoughts behind that season?
When I came back, I think that was a bit of a downer. I was
Mm,
carrying a few injuries, didn't really get back into gear.
mm,
Took quite a while before the injury cleared up, and it was a recurring hernia problem,
yeah.
which was a bit of a pain.
Mm-mm. Oh,
Took a while
definitely.
to do the rehab cycle over again. Yeah, and wasn't a great few games for me coming back, but thank God for the ultras at that point.
Mm. Yeah, that's the thing. They always find a way to bring you up even when you're at your lowest at the point of time. You got messages on, like, social media is a wonderful thing. You'll definitely get like messages from fans, through Instagram,
Yeah,
Facebook, and all that. So it's really great to see, local fans, supporting the player while he's down at that point of time. After the season with Geylang, when you announced that you were leaving, I myself was like thinking, what's up for Anders next? And
yeah.
then suddenly the Hougang thing came in. How did the whole Hougang journey start for you?
Well, obviously they were in the
Mm,
AFC Cup, which was a huge draw for me. Having the chance to play at the Asian level was a huge factor in me deciding to move over. Clement also was in fact my head coach back when I was in the NFA setup.
oh, okay, nice.
Everything aligned, and I made a move.
Mm. Oh, it's great.
Still a very
That
fond
was.
memory of Geylang though. So
Mm. Yeah, that was a great move to make as well. Like going from one massive fan base to another massive fan base. That's a big thing. I think if I was a player also in your position, also I would think about that as well. The fans and everything else. How important they are to the whole ecosystem. So now going through the season, after that circuit breaker came around, how did Hougang deal with the circuit breaker, and how was that moving forward? Were there any video training sessions, or what was the vibe like at Hougang during this period?
I mean, obviously we were all quite disappointed, but it's something out of our hands, and we try to make do with do the best we could.
Mm,
So we did have Zoom workout sessions quite frequently, and we would do our own runs and our own bike rides, and we'll clock mileage on the app and
mm,
send it over. But it was more about body maintenance during the lockdown. Couldn't really go out and run around, kick a ball. So when they finally semi lifted some of the restrictions, and we could actually train again, it was a great feeling. But the touches were rusty, man.
yeah, definitely. Like coming back after such a long break, getting back on the ball again and stuff like that. That's got to be hard to get back into. But luckily now with training resumed and everything else, hopefully the Hougang boys are ready to fight again. Hopefully when this season starts again, because honestly I'm also quite I am awaiting local football to start again, because it's been quite a few
Mm.
months. It's not been around. Yeah.
And hasn't our Thailand and Malaysian, haven't they started or about to start?
Yeah, I think they
I think they're
started
quite
already. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully everything goes to plan, and then we can start seeing local football again lah. Which
Yeah.
yeah, especially for the SPL wise, I would honestly like to watch NFL football as well, but I don't like with the rest of like in England, for example, they're not running their lower division football, so I don't know. I don't think NFL will be starting also, so that's quite a bummer. But hopefully, if we can get the SPL up and running again, I think that would be the great thing to work upon lah. Dude, thanks a lot for speaking to us, because we really appreciate it. I know you were in the middle of a pottery class, and having to come out and speak to this random dude like talking to a camera. But we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you, Emric, and Jerming from Hougang for helping us get this set up lah. Cause we here at the podcast miss local football so much that we wanted to do something lah. So
Yeah,
we
we do
thought,
too, man. We really hope it starts again soon.
yeah, so we thought we'd come back here and do an interview and stuff like that lah. But it's great to see you where you are now. Playing in the SPL club and having represented Singapore as well. I think your journey is all about hard work, and then despite your studies and everything, you still managed to do that and then come back into local football and still play at the top level here in Singapore. So hopefully we will see that for many more years to come lah. I'm certainly looking forward to that. That's for sure. Hopefully the season will start off soon lah. Okay, so we'll go through the rapid fire questions. If you're ready, your time starts now. Footballing hero,
Steven Gerrard,
ideal holiday destination,
wow. Istanbul,
best mate in football,
Shawal,
Ronaldo or Messi,
Messi,
job if you weren't a footballer,
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, job if you weren't a footballer,
Ooh, astronaut.
best trainer at the club,
Best trainer at the club.
as in who trains the best at the club, as in who's the most hardworking.
Wow. Arno trains pretty hard. I think.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I mean, look at the fella; he's so big. Favorite subject in school,
English,
team supported growing up,
Liverpool.
favorite movie.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy.
All right, and that's it. Anders, thank you so much for letting us speak to you. I know you were in the middle of a pottery class, but really
No worries.
thank you so much for coming out and speak to us. It's one name that I had on my list to interview was definitely you. Looking at your journey from from the NFA setup to your school, and then now back in NFL, and then now at Hougang, where you are today. It's really a measure of hard work and definitely pay off, and you've definitely shown that lah. So we really appreciate you
Yeah,
coming down and
thanks.
speaking to us, man.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, so hopefully we'll get to see you on the pitch real soon, man. I really look forward to that.
Yeah, if not, maybe I'll see you back here again.
Yeah, hopefully lah. We see lah. I'll just message you. Maybe we can meet up for a coffee or something lah. Coffee shop lah, 163 or something. Oh my god. All right, and that's been SG Football Podcast. Thank you so much again, Anders, for coming down and just speaking to us for a little bit. It's definitely a big thing to see him as well. It's been a while. And also thank you guys for watching as well. And thank you so much to Hougang, to Jerming, to Emric as well for speaking to us as well. We definitely massively appreciate you for letting us have the opportunity. And hopefully, Anders, will see you back on the pitch real soon. Take care. We'll see you
Hopefully.
soon.
Cool. You are watching SG Football Podcast.
That havoc to the room. It's a damn shame all the ladies hang out with the coons, red ass, red face. They be looking like baboons, looking like creatures with no future. Had to break it to ya, it's a scripture. Y'all looking like fools when I run to the future. We gonna do better than you, dress nice. We gonna flourish, chilling in the garden when it's foggy. Got a lot of bitches, I'm sorry. Have the time in my thoughts, I be in my noggin. When I tell them I got cash, man, they come.